slowly.
You're an idiot.
Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
Tomorrow I'm gonna spray WD-40 over all.
So we've all enjoyed the audio and visual recordings of the Karen species thriving in their natural habitat. But how many times have we seen the consequences to these Karen's actions? Probably not much. I always wonder what happens after the video ends, after it makes the news and after the person is identified. What punishment do these Karens get from video proof of them committing literal crimes? Well, in this case, we do get some justice for the actions of this male Karen, or Darren, or Kevin, or Ken. Whatever you want to call this man, make sure it's synonymous with the word crazy. 2020, Woodland Hills, LA. You're just driving down the street. The windows open, enjoying the beautiful Los Angeles weather. You see a man walking his dog. You think nothing of it until he starts wrecking shit up! That fruit stand is owned by a man named Thomas, who was just trying to make some more moolah to provide for him and his family. Little did Thomas know he was stepping on this man's neighborhood. Yes, this man's.
That's an illegal business in my neighborhood. Get the out of my neighborhood.
Oh, come on. Who are you? This is our neighborhood.
It's my neighborhood. They're legally in my neighborhood.
Darren here started terrorizing Thomas and his business. Apparently he had a problem with Thomas not having a permit, even though you don't need a permit to be a street vendor in California, thanks to California's Safe Sidewalk Vending Act of 2018. If you ask me why this happened, I would say good old Darren here just doesn't have a lot going on in his life. His wife left him, his kids don't talk to him, his grandkids think he's weird. He's alone. All he has is his dog and his Facebook groups. At least is my reasoning.
You call the police.
I did. They didn't do anything.
Dude, if the cops won't do anything, that's probably because there's nothing illegal going on. Darren here actually felt like some vigilante protecting his neighborhood from those filthy Hispanics. They think he's hiding in the shadows. He is the shadows.
A few moments later.
Being a Latino myself, I've seen plenty of my people like to make some extra money with a few side hustles, including setting up a fruit stand. Hell, I've set up a few lemonade stands back in my day when I was trying to save up for that cool new Optimus Prime toy. A good one that didn't have a cheap, ugly, lazy flap at the back that was supposed to be for his truck, but you know what I'm talking about? Like, bro, who thought this was a good idea? Anyways, one thing all of us fruit entrepreneurs have in common is that we ain't hurting anybody. We selling fruit. You want some fruit? Come have some fruit. If not, that's fine. Have a nice day. Thomas here isn't hurting anybody. He's not a decoy for a fentanyl operation with a Taiwan whole sucking in the back of a church. And I know that sounds completely out of nowhere, but I thought so too until I heard him say it.
What if we put up with this? Next thing you know, you're gonna have a Tijuana whore behind the church. Did you really? And then over that, you're gonna have a fentanyl dealer on that street corner, okay?
Thomas got the Benjis, but none of them blew. And I know that's still an odd thing to be thinking, but honestly, I'm not too surprised. I mean, he looks like the type to be in some weird conspiracy Facebook groups. I mean, look at him. You're telling me this isn't a flat earther? Now, with some people being a little offended by his actions, they came together to help protect Thomas's stand. Here's a group of mostly Hispanic people, and here's Darren calling them a bunch of muchachos.
Stop, muchachos!
Now move out of his way.
Hey, muchachos.
Racist.
Get out of my way.
Bigot.
Oh, don't touch us.
Bigot. Hey, guys.
Do not touch us. Do not touch us. Get the yeah, you racist.
Now, this is where Darren starts to bitch up real quick. You can see he goes in all tough guy by pushing people, but the minute he gets touched, he stops getting all handsy. I know there's a group of people and he doesn't want to get jumped, but if you hate people of color so much, here's your chance to talk shit to 20 of them at the same time. It's a dream come true. Why don't you keep up that same energy, Darren? But nah, he just kept walking home while, yeah. I don't know what it is with these guys in their late 40s grabbing their junk as an insult. Like, we see it so much from these type of people, and I wonder why. Anyways, after the group of activists followed Darren back home, they stood outside his house to protest, only to have Darren come outside, spray them with water, and do another thing with his thing.
That's a penis.
Darren got fed up with people yelling outside his house, so he decided to call the cops to do something about it. Only for the cops to arrest him after Thomas came forward to press charges. Yeah. So the first big brain move he did was leading the mob back to his house. And the second big brain move he did was calling the cops only to get Uno reversed.
He called the cops, and they ended up arresting him.
Even after he was let out on bond, people kept going back to his house to give him some well-deserved karma. I think he must have told one of them to go back to Mexico because they ended up bringing Mexico to him. I absolutely love how the entire community came together as a whole to put this man in his place and also support the many street vendors that Darren has harassed over the years, because Thomas is not the only one. Darren kept it low-key for a while, even putting his house up for sale, seemingly wrapping up this chaotic chapter in our story. Until he attacked another stand 3 months later with a fucking axe. Yeah, he did that after everything that happened. That stand belonged to a man named Jonathan. Guess what? Yes, Hispanic. Last we heard of Darren was that Jonathan was able to successfully get a 5-year restraining order against Darren, so that's good. Now, for what you all came here for. What happened to the axe-wielding Karen? Well, after getting his name and address doxed, he had no choice but to move. He currently resides in Michigan, where he is still fighting the many lawsuits that has piled up. I know most of you probably wanted him to rot in jail or get curb stomped, but it doesn't take that much to ruin someone's life. I mean, look. He had to move across the country after all the backlash and concerts that were going on outside his house. And if that's not enough for you, he still got no bitches. Since Darren left, Thomas and Jonathan are now both in a much safer neighborhood with so many people behind them supporting them. Their business has exploded and are now much better off than they were even before they met Darren. In every way, the victims won and the bullies lost. Good prevailed, and I'm more than okay with that. But don't forget, if you live in Michigan and you're a fruit stand owner, be careful. There could be an axe-wielding maniac creeping around the corner. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all be safe. Bye-bye.
How does it feel to be a racist?
I never said did anything racist.
Yes, you are. You're attacking
You're
Latino
an
street
ignorant
vendors.
idiot. The f***